Hey everyone, and welcome to today's deep dive. We're diving into a concept that's uh, both exciting and maybe even a little bit provocative. It's about dying with zero.
Dying with zero.
But before you start thinking, we're encouraging everyone to go on these crazy spending sprees.
Yeah.
Let me clarify.
Yeah.
We're not talking about ending your life completely broke.
Yeah.
We're talking about something much deeper.
Yeah.
It's about really experiencing everything life has to offer.
Yeah.
Squeezing every last drop of experience and fulfillment out of your time, your resources, your whole life, really.
Yeah.
And our guide on this journey is Bill Perkins and his book, Die with Zero.
It's funny because when you think about it, most of us are taught to save, work,
Right.
and just build this nest egg that we never get to really enjoy.
For someday, right?
Right, exactly.
When is someday?
Exactly. And Perkins flips that on its head. He's like,
Yeah.
what if we lived a life where we got to experience everything?
Yeah.
What if we use that money as a tool to experience life, not as the end-all be-all?
Absolutely.
Like, money is just a vehicle to get those life experiences.
Yes. And that really resonated with me because I don't know about you, but
Yeah.
I've definitely had those moments where I look back and think, oh man, I wish I had done that sooner.
Yeah.
Taken that trip or learned that skill or just said yes to that adventure.
Absolutely.
So this deep dive is all about figuring out how to live a life with fewer of those what-if moments.
And taking control of that, right? Because a lot of times it's like, oh, I wish I would have done that. But it's like, you have the power to actually take control of your life and do those things.
Totally. And I think that's where this idea of intentionality comes in.
Yeah.
It's about being really intentional with our time and our energy
100%.
because there are limited resources.
Right. And it starts with understanding, like, where does that fulfillment come from
Yeah.
at different stages in our life?
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
Perkins talks about this thing called the fulfillment curve.
Yes.
What is that all about?
So think about it like a roller coaster, right? When you're young, you're going to want to go on those rides where you're like, screaming.
Right, the thrill rides.
Right, the thrill rides. But as you get older, maybe you want to take in the scenery a little bit more.
Okay.
Take it easy. Maybe you don't need to go upside down 6 times.
Right, you're looking for a different kind of experience.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
So how does that translate into actually making decisions about how we spend our time and our money?
So Perkins tells a great story about his friend Jason,
Okay.
who was in his 20s working up a regular job and decided to take a backpacking trip across Europe.
Okay.
Now, Jason didn't come from a lot of money. He actually had to take out a high-interest loan to do this.
Wow, so he was committed.
He was committed.
He was like, this is important to me.
This is important to me, and I'm going to do it.
So years later, did he regret it?
Not at all.
Was he drowning in debt?
He looks back on that experience as one of the most impactful experiences of his life. He said it shaped his worldview. He got to experience all these different cultures. He just had a newfound appreciation for experiences, and for him, the memories and the personal growth outweighed the cost of that loan.
That's a powerful example of how sometimes front-loading those experiences, especially when you're younger, and you maybe have more time than money can pay off in ways you can't even imagine.
Right. And it's like investing in your future self.
Yes, exactly. It's like investing in your future self because you're right. When you're younger, you might not have as much money, but you probably have more time and energy.
Exactly.
And you can really embrace those experiences fully.
You can rough it a little bit more.
Exactly.
You're not worried about like, oh, is there a 5-star hotel?
Right. You can sleep on a train, no problem.
Exactly.
So it's like investing in those memories and those experiences that will stay with you.
And those memories, you're going to be able to share those stories. You're going to look back on those.
Yes.
For years to come.
And those stories become part of who you are.
Exactly.
Like building your own personal legacy.
100%.
One adventure at a time.
Yes.
So how can we be more deliberate about creating those kinds of experiences that will yield these incredible memories down the road?
I think the biggest thing is being present in those moments.
Okay.
And it's so cliche to say be present.
Right.
But it's true. Like, how many times are we on our phones when we're with our loved ones? Or we're at an amazing dinner, but we're taking photos of it, but we're not actually tasting the food.
Right. We're not experiencing it.
We're not experiencing it. So being present, using all of your senses, really trying new things, stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Be present. Be engaged. Don't just let life happen to you.
100%.
Create those memory-worthy moments.
Yes.
Okay, so we've talked about this fulfillment curve. We've talked about these incredible memories and how those really are a form of wealth in and of themselves.
Yes.
But I'm guessing some of you listening might be thinking, okay, but what about the practical stuff?
Right.
Like, what about saving for retirement?
Yeah.
What about unexpected expenses?
Hmm.
Or leaving something for my kids? What does Perkins have to say about all of that?
He actually addresses those head on,
Okay.
which I love because I feel like so many times people are like, this is great in theory, but what about this? And he actually answers those.
Okay, good.
He talks about the survival threshold.
Survival threshold. What is that all about?
So the survival threshold is essentially how much money do you really need
Okay.
to cover your basic needs
To survive.
to survive, right? Your housing, your healthcare, food, all of those basic necessities.
Got it.
And once you figure that number out, he says, shift your focus
Okay.
from accumulating more wealth
Oh.
to actually living a more fulfilling life.
So it's like finding that balance, right?
Exactly.
Between financial security, making sure that you can cover those essentials.
Yes,
But then also enjoying the journey.
100%, because accumulating that wealth costs something.
And what's that?
Time.
Time.
It costs time.
It's like you're trading those precious moments
Yes.
for something that might not even make you happy in the end.
And the time that you could be spending making those memories and, living your life to the fullest.
Exactly. And that brings us to this other big question I think a lot of people have
Yeah.
around this idea of dying with zero, which is inheritance.
Right.
Like, what about taking care of my kids?
Yeah. What about my loved ones?
What about my loved ones? What does Perkins say about that?
So he dives into this whole inheritance thing.
Okay.
And he presents some really interesting data about how inheritances actually work.
Okay. Like what?
So studies show that most people receive inheritances later in life,
Interesting.
like when they're in their 60s or 70s.
Okay, so they might not even be able to enjoy that money as much.
Exactly.
Like their health might not be as good.
Right. You can't exactly go on that backpacking trip when you're 80.
Right. Their priorities have probably changed by then.
Yes. Or maybe their health doesn't allow them to
Right.
enjoy it as much.
So it's like timing is everything.
Timing is everything. And that's why he presents this alternative approach
Ah.
called giving while living.
Giving while living.
Yeah.
Okay, I like the sound of that. Tell me more.
So instead of waiting until you're gone
Yeah.
to give your children or your loved ones money,
Right.
why not help them financially when they're younger?
Okay.
Like in those crucial years when they're starting their careers or maybe they're starting families.
So it's giving them a head start.
Exactly. It's like investing in their present happiness and their present fulfillment
I love that.
as opposed to this like delayed inheritance that might not even come at a time that's beneficial to them.
That's a really interesting way to think about it because it's true.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in your 20s and 30s,
Yeah.
that's when you're really building your life.
Exactly.
That's when you have those big expenses like buying a house or
Yes. Starting a business.
starting a business,
Exactly.
having kids, all
Yeah.
of that.
Right.
So it's like that's when that financial assistance can really make a difference.
Right. Exactly. And it allows you to experience the joy of giving.
Yes. You
You-
get to actually see the impact
Exactly. You get to see how you're helping them.
and be a part of those memories.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
And this ties back to something that Perkins talks about.
Okay.
He calls them the 3 prongs of life enjoyment.
Okay.
And those are health, money, and time.
Health, money, and time.
Yes.
The 3 biggies.
The 3 biggies, and they all kind of work together. And
Right.
as we age, their importance might change.
Okay, so how do those 3 prongs kind of work together exactly?
So let's break it down.
Okay.
When you're young, you probably have a lot more time and energy.
More than money, probably.
More than money, right? But then as you get older, maybe you've built some wealth, but your health isn't the same. Or you have more responsibility, so you don't have as much time.
Right. It's like a constant balancing act.
It is.
It's life.
And what he's saying is, money is not the end-all be-all.
Okay.
Like, it's great to have money,
Right.
but it's not going to buy you happiness.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
Okay.
And he says the utility of money declines as you get older.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
So it's like saying, okay, if I'm 80 and I have $1 million and I want to travel the world,
Right.
well, my body might not be able to handle that.
Right. You might not have the energy
Right,
to really enjoy it the way you would have.
Right. Or I can buy that dream car, but my eyesight is gone. I
Right.
can't really drive that fast anymore.
Or go on that safari
Right. Exactly.
you always wanted to do.
So he's just saying it's about timing those experiences.
It's like money is one piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
It's not the whole picture.
It's not the end all be all.
And it's easy to get so caught up
Yeah.
in the pursuit of wealth
Yes.
that we forget about actually living.
100%.
So how do we find that balance?
Right.
How do we figure out what the right time is for those experiences? Especially because life can feel so unpredictable.
Well, that's where he introduces this idea of net worth peak.
Net worth peak.
Okay, and it sounds very financial.
It does sound very financial.
But it's not just about how much money you have in the bank.
Oh.
It's really about timing.
Okay, tell me more about this net worth peak then.
So net worth peak is the point in your life
Yeah.
where you have the most resources
Yeah.
to really enjoy those life experiences.
So it's not necessarily when you have the most money in the bank.
Correct.
Like-
It's considering your health, your energy levels, your time commitments,
Got it.
all of
And
these factors.
It's like everything's aligned.
Exactly.
Right.
And for most people, that falls between the ages of 45 and 60.
Interesting.
So it's like having all the ingredients for the perfect recipe
Yeah.
at the right time.
Okay, I like that analogy.
You have some experience under your belt. You're
Mhm.
hopefully in good health.
Right, you're not brand new to the world.
Right.
You've kind of figured some things out.
You have the resources, hopefully, to make it happen.
And the wisdom, hopefully, too,
The wisdom, yes.
to appreciate those experiences even more.
Yes. And it doesn't mean that by the time you're 60, you have to have done everything.
Right.
But it's just recognizing that this is a prime window
Okay.
for a lot of people.
So it's like being intentional
Yeah.
about that time.
Exactly. And that kind of leads us into this concept of time bucketing.
Okay, time bucketing, what is that?
So time bucketing is essentially breaking down your life into these different phases
Okay.
and then thinking about what experiences you want to have in each phase.
So instead of just letting it happen to you, you're being more intentional about it.
Exactly. You're taking control.
Yeah.
You're saying, okay, in this phase of my life, I really want to prioritize travel. Or in this phase of my life, I really want to prioritize learning a new skill.
So it's like recognizing that your priorities might change as you go through life.
Yes.
Because what's important to you in your 20s might be totally different than what's important to you in your 40s or 50s.
Exactly. And your physical capabilities might change too.
That's-
Like you said, maybe you can handle that backpacking trip through Southeast Asia when you're 20.
Right.
But maybe when you're in your 40s,
Yeah.
you want to do something a little bit different.
Like, I need a nice hotel.
Right, exactly.
I'm not sleeping on a train anymore.
Or maybe instead of waiting till retirement to travel the world, you take smaller, more frequent trips throughout your life.
I love that.
Because then you can experience those things with your family.
Create those memories together
Exactly.
while you can.
Right, because we don't know how much time we have.
Exactly. We've got to make the most of it.
Exactly.
And, you know, speaking of making the most of it, another thing I really loved about Perkins's book was how much he emphasized the importance of taking risks.
Yes,
Because I feel like that's something that holds a lot of people back
100%.
from truly living their best lives.
Fear is real.
It's so real, and it can be paralyzing.
But he argues that when you're younger,
Yeah.
the potential downside of taking a risk is much less.
You have more time to recover.
You have more time to recover. You have more time to learn from it.
If you fail,
Yes.
you can bounce back.
Exactly. And you know what? Failure is a part of life. It's how we view failure that I think makes all the difference.
Totally. It's about learning from those experiences.
Exactly.
And it reminds me of that saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yes.
So sometimes those risks, those leaps of faith,
Yeah.
those are the things that lead to the most incredible adventures.
100%.
And Perkins tells that great story about Mark Cuban,
Oh, yeah.
who was kind of a hustler from a young age.
Yes.
Like always finding ways to make money, never afraid to take a chance.
He was selling garbage
I
bags
love that.
to make money.
And look at him now.
Right.
He's a billionaire entrepreneur.
But he was never afraid to put himself out there to embrace those opportunities.
Exactly. He embraced the unknown.
And that fearlessness, I think, is what led him to where he is today.
Totally. And I think that's something we can all apply to our own lives.
100%.
Whether we're talking about starting a business or switching careers or even just trying a new hobby.
It's about getting out of your comfort zone.
Yes, exactly. It's about challenging those limiting beliefs that might be holding you back.
Yes.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into Bill Perkins's Die with Zero,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways
Okay.
that we can leave our listeners with?
I think the biggest takeaway is shifting our perspective on life.
From what to what?
From viewing life as this race to accumulate wealth
Okay.
to viewing life as this incredible journey filled with experiences.
I love that it's about the experiences. It's about the connections.
Yes.
It's about the memories.
It's about the memories, not the money.
Right. The money is just a tool
Exactly.
to enhance those experiences,
Yes.
not the end goal in itself.
Yes.
I love that. And it's about recognizing
Yes.
that time is our most valuable resource.
It's the one resource we can't get more of.
We can't get it
So
back.
we might as well use it wisely and really be intentional with it.
It's about living a life with fewer regrets,
Yes.
knowing that you squeezed every last drop of joy and fulfillment
Yes.
out of this one precious life.
And it's never too late to start.
You're so right.
You can start today.
So if you're feeling inspired to start living a more intentional life,
Yes.
to embrace those experiences, to make
Yes.
the most of your time,
Yes.
I highly recommend checking out Bill Perkins' book, Die With Zero.
It's a great read.
It's packed with so many more insights and
Yeah.
anecdotes and stories and practical tips to kind of help you navigate this journey of life.
And remember, you can't be generous when you're dead.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
So start living, start giving, start making those memories now.
That's such a good reminder.
Yes.
It's a reminder to live fully, to give generously,
Yeah.
and to embrace every single moment.
Love it.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep living your best life.